This is Into Math 3rd grade, lesson 12.1. Tell and write time to the minute. I can tell and write time to the nearest minute. Please gather your workbook and a pencil and turn to page 328. We will start under Build Understanding Part 1. If you need to pause at any time, you may do so. Jose sees the clock when his class arrives at the fire department for a field trip. Find the time shown on the clock. I'm going to enlarge the clock so that we can see it better on our screen. Let's start with part A. What does the hour hand show you? And if you remember, the hour hand is the small hand here that tells the hour of the time. And so the hour hand is between two numbers. Right now, it is between 9 and 10. It's closer to 9 right here, but it is between these two numbers. So we can explain that the time is between 9 and 10. Now let's take a look at part B. How can you count the minutes on the clock? Taking a look at the word minute, we connect to our vocabulary. A minute is a unit used to measure short amounts of time. In 1 minute, the minute hand moves from 1 minute mark to the next on an analog clock. And this is an analog clock that we're looking at right here. And so it's moving 1 minute to the next. So we know where the hour hand is. So this right here is our minute hand. And our job is to find out what is the exact minute that it is pointing to, which it looks like it's pointing right to this little dash right above the 3. So one strategy would be to start here at the 12, which we know is 0 minutes. And we can jump to the 1, which we know there would be 5 minutes. And we can count all of the marks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we know that that is 5. And so we can jump to the 2, and we know that that's a total of 10 minutes. We counted all the little slash marks there. And so we can't jump to the 3 because the minute hand here is not pointing to the 3, it's pointing to the dash right above it. So we would count each minute. We would say 1, 2, 3, and it ends at 4. And for all of these, we would add one more minute. 11, 12, 13, and the final one, 14. So we know that it would be 14 minutes because that's exactly where the minute hand is pointing. So I can explain my thinking and what I did by saying count by 5s from 12 to 1 and from 1 to 2. So count 0 at the 12, which we did, and then we counted 0, 5, 10, and then count the marks by 1s, these little marks, we counted them from the 2 to where the minute hand points, and we counted 11, 12, 13, 14. So we can now answer part C. What time does the clock show? It shows 9:14. Part D asks, what numbers can you write on the digital clock to show the time the class arrives? So if you want to pause and complete that, you can. And when you come back, you will have 9 for the hour and 14 as the minute on the digital clock. Part D, what are 2 ways you can read the time? 9 blank, blank minutes after blank. The first blank is the most common. When you see the time or someone asks you the time, typically we would answer 9, and then we would group these two numbers and say it is 14. So we can write in 14 for a way to read the time. It is 9:14. Another way to write 9:14 would be to put the minutes first. So here we would say it is 14 minutes after and then we would put the hour here, which would be 9. Let's take a look at the next page, page 329, under Step It Out Part 2. Liz looks at this digital clock during a tour of the post office. What time does the clock show? And here's the digital clock. When we look at the digital clock, we know that the hour is 1, so it is 1 o'clock, and the minutes are 47 minutes. So we would say it is 1:47 according to the digital clock. Now let's look at part A. Show the time on the analog clock, which is the other clock here that is shown. To help demonstrate, I will make my clock a little bit bigger. So I will first draw the hour, which is 1 o'clock, and I know that the hour when it's 1 o'clock, it would be between the 1 and the 2. So I'm going to draw my hour hand like this, and now I have the hour hand pointing to close to 2, but in between 1 and 2. And then I'm going to draw my minute hand, and that's the one that's at 47 minutes. So I know that I can go starting here at 0, and I can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and I need to stop there because if I go one more, I will go to 50, and that is more than 47. So now that I'm here at 45, I will count by ones for each mark. So we have 1 mark here at 46 and 1 more mark for 47. This shows me exactly where to draw the minute hand. So I will make my long line for the minute hand close to this mark here that represents 47 minutes. Now let's take a look at part B. Write the hour. Well, we know that the hour is 1, or we can write it out if we'd like. And now we're ready to answer part C. How many minutes after the hour does the minute hand show? So we show that there are 47 minutes after the hour. Part C also asks us to count on by 5s and then by 1s, which we did in the red. So we can write 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47. We can fill in the blanks here for blank minutes after blank because we know that there were 47 minutes after the hour, and the hour is 1. So we will write 47 minutes after 1. Part D. How many minutes before the hour does the minute hand show? Count by 5s and then by 1s in the opposite direction. So we know that the time is 1:47, but what they're asking here is, here's the next hour when it will be 2 o'clock, the minute hand will be on the 0, and how many minutes before where we are currently at 1:45. So we're going to go backwards and start at the 0. And when we do that, we go to 11, and that makes 5. And then we go to the 10, and that's another group of 5, which makes 10 minutes. And now we have just a few little marks here. So this would be 1 minute, which would be 11. And this would be another minute, which would be 12. And the final minute, which makes 13. We can write in how we counted by 5s and 1s by writing, we started at 0, and then we went to 5, and then 10, 11, 12, and then 13. So there are 13 minutes before the hour. We can complete the blanks by writing 13 minutes before 2. This is a different way of saying the time using the minutes before the next hour. As always, you can always go back and rewatch this video at any time and pause along the way as needed.